All right, welcome back to the foundation, and we're going to be in Genesis chapter 9, somewhere over the rainbow. After the flood,
Noah changed his name. He went from raindrops keep falling over his head
yep,
to over the rainbow.
Yep. So what happens when there's a great big storm, and what happens? You got your rainbow. Okay, so let's imagine Noah and his family and all of his animals, they get off the ark. It has to be a culture shock to see what was and then what has become of the world.
That depends on how you view the flood.
Actually,
just use your imagination a little here.
Actually,
You're talking about walking out of the ark and there's a cultural flood. Okay, you got the ground covered for 40 days and 40 nights, and you're still floating around for over a year.
yes, you are.
What do you think happens to the grass and the plants and the trees when they get overwatered?
You die.
So if what you're saying is the way you think it, and you open that door, there is nothing there.
Yeah.
There's no trees. There's no grass.
Everything is destroyed.
And it's dried mud.
Mm-hmm. Everything is destroyed.
So if he hadn't taken seeds with him on board, he wouldn't have had them grapes to get drunk on.
Yeah.
Because it took him 5 years to grow that great vineyard to get to where he can make wine.
Yeah.
I'd hate to be in that business.
I know it.
Wait 5 years to make my first bottle of wine.
Well, let's get into it. Genesis chapter 9, we'll start in verse 12. And God said, "This is the sign and the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you. For all the generations, I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it will be for signs and covenants between me and the earth." So let's talk about that real quick. What does that mean, David?
Well, this is a covenant,
Mm-hmm.
a visible symbol,
Sure.
a memorial
Ooh, I like that.
to a solemn covenant,
Mm-hmm.
which is making between me and you and every living creature that is with you. Now, do you think an animal looks up and sees a rainbow and thinks of that covenant? He made it between.
But if you think about it,
It sounds like that. Yeah, I see that. I know what happened.
Yeah. I mean, if no one else will worship God, the rocks will cry out.
Mm-hmm.
So and also something that I've been kind of just thinking about and playing with is, what if all the animals before the flood could talk? I don't know, because we know that the serpent could talk, and it was not unusual for Eve. Dave, show everybody your chart there.
Here we go. I don't know if y'all can see it that good being far off.
I zoomed in for us. So
We got Eve and Adam. But they put her first.
I'm telling you what, ladies first, right?
How many record labels could we start?
No. And it shall be when I bring the cloud over the earth that the rainbow will be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my covenant which is between me and you and every living creature of of all flesh. Oh wow, all flesh. And the waters. Huh?
That'd have to include fish.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you destroy fish in a flood?
Well, I know one thing. Noah didn't have to bring any fish on the ark.
That's true.
There was plenty of water outside.
So
Okay?
he's making a covenant with animals that didn't even come on board.
And the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. The rainbow. Go on ahead, get your Psalm 104 out. The rainbow shall be in the cloud, and I will look on it to remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth. And God said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant which I have established between me and all the flesh that is on the earth. Now,
The Hebrew word for earth means dirt.
well, Mars has dirt.
Huh?
Mars has dirt.
We don't know what kind.
Yeah.
Can't grow nothing there.
But so does that mean that Mars is a, well, I guess it could be a Earth to the Martians, right?
Well, they claim there was lakes on it or something at one time, but
Yep. I wonder where those lakes came from.
maybe that was the first Earth.
Nope. Listen to
I just started knowing right over here.
my thinking is when the fountains of the great deep broke open, that would have shot the rocks and everything on Earth up into orbit.
Made planets.
Not make them for say, but
So they became stars.
the meteors we see,
They're coming back to Earth because they're coming back home.
they're coming back home. You're getting it. It's not impossible.
Well, your idea of the fountain of the deep busting open, mine is different.
Okay, what is it? What's the difference?
The deep is the rivers overflowing and flooding.
No, that's not.
Yeah,
No.
What you're saying is more like a metaphor for, say, the Mississippi River flooding.
No, it's not. It's not a metaphor. There's no way
Well,
this could be a metaphor.
they're not exactly telling you that the river flooded, but that's what they're telling you.
How?
Because the fountains of the deep broke their banks. There was before this.
Oh, you mean kind of like a dam break?
No, it's kind of like okay. In the wintertime, up north, the Mississippi River and places around it freeze over.
Mm-hmm.
The springs in the mountain, they freeze over.
Okay.
Okay, when spring comes, they thaw out and everything starts rushing down into the river. Well, the river cannot hold it all and it swells over its bank. The fountains of the deep break their banks. Now, when you get back before Noah, it never rained. And if it never rained, and back then, the rivers never flooded.
Right, but
This is the first time that rivers ever flooded, as well as it did rain.
right. But if let's suppose.
So they didn't know what.
Hold on now. Let's suppose.
So they didn't know what else to call it except the fountains of the deep broke open.
In the beginning, when God created the world and everything, you got to think that when Psalms 90 before let's go to John 1 and I'll just read it. In the beginning was Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the same was in the beginning with God. In Psalm 90. Before the mountains were brought forth, in Psalm 90, verse 2. Or ever thou hadst formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. So, and then we jump into your creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, or heaven, if you want to go on the King James version. And then it talks about the fall of Lucifer. But so if let's suppose that
We're talking about Noah now.
yes. At that point, between Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 and verse 2, if they are, this is what we call the gap theory.
The earth was formless and void, or a waste and emptiness, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, primeval ocean that covered the unformed earth. And the Spirit of God was moving or hovering over the face of the waters.
Yep.
Now, of course, in verse 1, it says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
Yes.
So, like I told you, the word earth stands for dirt. It don't mean planet or world. It means dirt.
You
So
know,
when you get
wait, to kind of go off on that, not many people have thought about this, but did you know that in the ocean, underneath all the sand, is dirt?
That's mud.
Okay, mud.
Maybe not in that.
Mud dries into dirt.
Well, I also told you the highest peak in the world is not on top above water level either. It's below the water.
Yeah.
The highest peak in the world is underwater.
Good.
Here's what these people are teaching about this an old earth and a new earth. Is that in the beginning he did create the heaven and the dirt for people to live on. Then you get the second verse. It says the earth or the dirt was formless and void, and it was wasted emptiness, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
Yeah.
The Spirit of God was moving or hovering over the water.
Right.
So this dirt had to be covered by water.
Right.
So there had to be a flood between the first verse and the second verse for the water to cover the dirt.
But
That's what some people are. Some of these you can find them on YouTube. That's where I found this guy preaching on. And I found more than one preaching the same thing.
yeah,
But there's this the first verse is kind of like an old earth. God flooded it because the water covered the dirt in verse 2. And then when you get to Psalms 104, we'll start with 5. He established the earth on its foundations so that it will not be moved forever and ever. You covered it with the deep as with a garment. What did he cover it with? The waters were standing above the mountains. At your rebuke, they fled. At the sound of your thunder, they hurried away. The mountains rose up, and the valleys sank down to the place where you established for them. You set a boundary for the waters that they may not cross over, so that they will not return to cover the earth. You set springs into the valleys. Their waters flowed among the mountains, and they gave drink to every beast of the field. Now, if you read that just like it is, you may think, well, that could be the flood. But if you take the whole chapter and read it, it's telling you that this is creation. So, when you read, when you in verse 6 it says you covered it with a deep as with a garment. The waters were standing above the mountains. There you'd be going back to verse 2 in Genesis.
Right.
So the way we see the earth now that God created in 6 days, he already had it, according to these guys, he already had it built. All he had to do is bring it back alive again.
These were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole earth was populated. And Noah began to be a farmer. Now, also keep in mind that this, from verse 17 and 18, there's a long gap there, right? Because if we read on, and then Noah began to be a farmer and planted a vineyard. Then he drank of the wine and was drunk. Hold it. I thought that I thought that Noah was perfect and upright. He was a righteous man, right?
I don't think getting drunk was wrong. Remember, there's still no law yet. Besides, who's he hurting? Ain't nobody around to hurt.
Oh well. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. We know his attitude towards being drunk, right? It doesn't matter if it's before or after the law.
I think it says drunkards. It didn't say those who drink. There's a difference between a person who drinks and a drunkard.
But I have a
Yeah, but a drunkard stays. He continually keeps drinking.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Not to become an alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
but well, Noah couldn't really party. There wasn't nobody to party with.
Yeah.
Practically, he don't intentionally get drunk all the time.
Yeah. Now the question is why?
A drunkard will.
Why did he get drunk?
I guess he got drunk because he finally got some grapes growing on his vine.
Right. Well, let's keep on reading. And became uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his 2 brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it on their shoulders and went in backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. And their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. And you can read the whole story, and there's a couple of points I want to ponder here.
Once we get into the curse,
And the curse, go ahead.
curse be Canaan,
Go ahead.
the son of Ham, the servant of servants. He shall be to his brothers.
Mhm.
He also said, blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge the land of Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. So who are Canaan was one of the sons of Ham. So we hadn't got over to Abraham yet, but when Abraham comes and settles in Canaan, is this the descendants of Ham that's in Canaan? Now here's my thinking. These Canaanites are to be servants not only of Shem, but Japheth too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So who are we descendants from? Japheth.
From Japheth. So we are descendants from Japheth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Israelites are the descendants of Shem.
Right.
So when the Palestinians and all them other Arabs says that that's their land, they don't realize that they are to be servants of Israel
Yes.
and us.
Yep.
If we're descendants of, I think Shem's line would extend into the Orient too.
Yes.
Chinese, Japanese, Indonesians, and Samoans, and other people like that.
Right.
So all of them would be over the Israelite. I mean, over the Canaanites or the sons of Ham, of Canaan. So actually, they have no right to claim that land.
That's true.
That's just an idea off my head.
Yeah. That's good. Now, Noah got drunk. We know God's attitude towards drunkenness or drunkards, right? He just says, don't do that, right?
It didn't say anything about those who take occasional drinks.
Well, yeah, but getting drunk, though.
Yeah, but what's the motive behind getting drunk and being a drunkard? It's the motive behind of getting drunk.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
you're
not.
not wrong.
It's going to end up more evil than good. But he didn't curse. He didn't get cursed because he was drunk. He got cursed because he saw him naked.
Right. But he never would have been naked if he didn't drink. Why is it, David, that Noah got drunk? I think, you see, before the flood came, there was no such thing as alcoholic wine. Now, it was quite some time. How long did you say? 5 years?
I think it's in here somewhere. It said it took 5 years to grow a vineyard. So what was how did do we know if Noah was a farmer before the flood?
Probably so. Yeah,
Well,
could have been.
he had to build that ark. I don't know if he I don't know exactly how he took care of business outside building the ark, but
Yeah.
so
That's true. But my thinking is, with this time between, him pouring his wine, it wasn't fermented before the flood because you could keep it in.
Well, I don't know about that because if you see why God destroyed mankind, is I think alcohol is one of the reasons.
That could be.
They
That
were.
could be. Yeah.
They got drunk. They raped. They pillaged.
Yeah.
Committed murder. They doing what a drunkard would do.
Yep.
And you don't get drunk just once to do it. You get drunk all the time to do it.
That's true.
But you become a bad boy. You're a bad boy.
Yeah.
It takes a change in the mind to repent it and turn away from it. These people before the flood, they weren't changing their mind about doing any kind of good.
No, they sure weren't.
So actually, they didn't have to be drunkards to do all that stuff. They were doing it whether they're drunk or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it might have been more fun if they was drunk.
Yeah. So, a couple of things before we quit, David. Why do they find clams closed, petrified on Mount Everest? Now that's a scientific fact.
Yeah,
People find them in the trillions up there.
yeah.
They still are, by the way. Why? You know,
It goes back.
hold on a second. You know, clams, it's a scientific fact that clams are probably not too bright. Right? And they can't climb mountains very well.
Well, if that's the case, they wouldn't have been there in the first place. Unless there's already a mountain formed and was made disappeared by the first flood.
Well, hold on now. If we're going to take, let's go with that, right?
No, I'm not talking about Noah's flood.
No. I'm going with you.
I'm going with
I'm going with you.
I'm going with the second verse.
Before the flood.
I'm going the second
Before
verse of Genesis.
creation. I don't believe this for one bit. But well, let's just pretend, right?
Mhm.
But scientifically, clams did not evolve at that point.
Well, you don't know what animal creatures were created in that first earth.
Well, we have the scientific evidence that of what all was created. Supposing you're right, I mean, you know, in Exodus it says that, Exodus chapter 20, for God made the heavens and the earth, the sea, and all that in them is, in 6 days. So, I don't know. There's
Well, that's what I'm telling you. It's easier to do a reset if the material's already there.
right,
All you got to do is make it rise up out of the water.
right. But is God perfect?
God's perfect, yeah.
He would not have created a perfect world. I mean, an imperfect world, if he was perfect.
How you know it wasn't imperfect? Because the scripture they use says that Satan went about bartering with the kingdoms that existed then.
Yeah.
So there had to be some kind of life form there. I don't know if it's human or whatever it was, but there was kings and princes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Satan was trading with them and doing stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, I told you he had to create the earth, kick Satan out of heaven. You can't keep Satan in heaven. Always be eternity is perfect.
Yes.
So you got to kick Satan and you got to kick sin out of something that's perfect. And you got
Now.
and you got to send it to some place,
Right.
and it's going to make it imperfect.
Okay. Now we're going to go in it there, and we're going to talk about the time that Satan visited heaven a couple of times.
Job.
Yep. And we will be right back.